Tyler Turner has always been a bit of a daredevil and all-around adventure athlete. He grew up skiing and snowboarding and eventually made a career as a skydiving instructor. But in 2015, Tyler had an accident that resulted in the amputation of both of his legs. It was unclear if he'd ever be able to return to the sports he loved, especially snowboarding.
I didn't want to ride because I was about to find out maybe that I can't snowboard again. And then I'd only gone 30 feet, but in that 30 feet, I went, yep, this is snowboarding. I was just giggling and screaming in pain, but screaming in joy. And it was just a really cool moment. And then we pulled over to the side of the run and I took the prosthetics off. And then that season I just spent trying to figure out how to ride more.
That first ride was the beginning of an important journey for Tyler. Since then, he's become a 3-time para-snowboard cross-world champion and even won gold at the 2022 Paralympic Games. Outside of snowboarding, Tyler has also made a return to surfing and skydiving, and in 2017, he became the first bilateral amputee to fly in a wingsuit. I'm Shelby Stanger, and this is Wild Ideas Worth Living, an REI Co-op Studios production presented by Capital One and the REI Co-op MasterCard. Tyler Turner, welcome to Wild Ideas Worth Living. I'm really excited to speak to you. And you're fresh off a plane from Chile. Literally, you just walked in the door. What were you doing there?
I was down filming some content for one of my amazing sponsors. And it's going to be such a cool piece. I can't wait to see it.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, so I want to go back. So you're a stud. And it sounds like you've always been a stud. You're a Paralympic gold medalist in snowboarding, the first bilateral amputee to fly in a wingsuit. And I feel like you also placed in the adaptive surfing competition at a high level. Were you always outdoorsy? Were you always attracted to adventure sports? Tell me how you kind of got into all of this in Canada where you grew up.
Well, yeah, action sports, adventure sports, been everything forever. I grew up in northern Saskatchewan. So it's quads and snowmobiles and ATVs. And then I moved to Alberta, which is mountains and just the opportunity for rock climbing. I started climbing at a young age. And it was I work and I climb and I guide whitewater rafts and I working towards, ski, snowboard, guiding certs and competing. But moderation is not a word in my life. So it's just all in all the time. I dive head first and I think I'm an addict, but I like to think that they're healthy addictions.
Were your parents like this? Did you have siblings who were like this? Who fostered that in you, or is it just something you were born with?
Yeah, I always say I was just born with the screw loose, I think. I don't know where it comes from. I don't have a great explanation. It's just for me, doing these things, what gives me joy, it makes me happy. It's so cliche, but I feel more alive when I'm doing this stuff. And if I'm not doing it, I'm just sad. And funny enough, growing up, my brother actually was kind of the crazy one. I wouldn't ride roller coasters, but he wanted, the biggest, scariest roller coaster or whatever. But for me, it's about planning, perfect planning and perfect execution. And that's why I love the sports that I participate in, because there isn't a lot of room for imperfect execution.
Tyler always enjoyed adventure sports that require focus and precision. Growing up, he loved snowboarding and slalom skiing, and he discovered surfing as a teenager. After high school, Tyler went on a 4-month surf trip to Australia with his friends. While he was in Byron Bay near Brisbane, Tyler tried skydiving for the first time. He thought it'd be a one-off experience, but from the moment he jumped out of a plane, he was hooked.
You hear everyone doing a skydive in Byron Bay, so I'm going to do the touristy thing. And I did a skydive. It was amazing. Did it with one of my best friends, my brother, and a couple of friends from back home, and landed, and we're all high-fiving. And I think everyone's like, that was so cool. And I was just that was amazing. But these guys get to go do it again. The instructors we were with, the filmers, and they're high-fiving us, and they're going to do this again. Man, that was cool, but one and done, that's just not for me. Moderation, as I said, not my thing. And so it started this thought process, saving up money and trying to, get myself to a place where I could make enough money to support getting a solo license. And then it pretty much consumed my life for the next 5 years-ish, and got all my coaching certifications and everything. So it became a job. Like it wasn't costing me $200 every weekend. It was making me $200 on a weekend. So I think on the surface, you look at skydiving, you're like, jump out the plane, float down, pull your parachute, land safe. But it's so nuanced, and there's so many different avenues in skydiving. And that's what really hooked me, is like trying to perfect your human flight, and how far can you push it, and how precise can you be and with flying your body. And some people fly at such an incredible level. And so there actually is this like progression within the sport that I don't think most people see. And that's what really hooked me.
Tyler was 21 when he got his skydiving license, and he soon started exploring other ways to fly, like wingsuiting. For those unfamiliar, wingsuiting is a bit different from skydiving. Wingsuit divers wear a suit with fabric webbing between their arms and body and between their legs. This allows them to glide through the air like a bird. Once Tyler was introduced to wingsuiting, it quickly became another obsession. For years, he lived like a classic adventure dirtbag, sleeping in a van, jumping out of planes, climbing, snowboarding, and doing pretty much any action sport you could imagine. But in 2015, when Tyler was 29 years old, an accident changed the course of his life. 29 is like the most pivotal year for just a human in general. Like, I've talked to so many people who had like a big life change at 29.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, that was almost 8 years ago today, and you had this horrific accident skydiving. And you still don't know what happened.
Yeah, you got it. I've tried everything, like hypnotherapy and all the different ways to try and remember what actually happened, because no one saw it. So really don't know what happened. I mean, I made a massive mistake. There was lots of things that played into it. Well, what I was doing was a job. I film people doing their first tandem skydive or doing a tandem skydive. I have a helmet that has cameras on it. And then when you land your parachute, you kind of get an opportunity to practice some skills and push yourself a little bit on landings. And, I just made a mistake doing some pretty high performance stuff, and I hit the ground going extremely fast. And I'm lucky, because most people that make that mistake die. And then I was in a coma for quite a while after, and then I have no memory for a while after that. So I actually am definitely missing like the next 2 weeks to a month of my life is kind of just wiped. I've tried so hard to get memories back, and I can't. I'm lucky I've heard the stories and seen the photos and everything, and so I've kind of created memories of that. I actually only had one leg amputated at that time, but it was just this, like, my back's broken, my brain injuries really devastating. I'm trying to learn how to talk again, and not just for like a couple weeks, but like for years. And like over that time, it's this longer process where the first few months I just was like, why put in the effort? Why show up? What's the point? Because there isn't anything out there for me. It's all gone. Identity, everything, community, it's gone. So why? But then it kind of comes around, and it like gets to the point of like, all right, I'll show up. When I got to that point of like, I'll give it a try, I think that was kind of the like I say, instead of like waking up and being like, oh my God, I have no legs, I don't want to do this. And then like, oh, but I'm going to do this, and I overcome. It's more like, oh man, my legs, everything's messed up. I lost everything. This sucks. And then it got to like, well, I guess I'll wake up every day at least, like that. It's not as like amazing.
I appreciate the realness in which you tell a story. I think like none of us can relate to that, but I think everybody can relate at some point to like not wanting to get up out of bed and like it just sucking. And then you just have to do it, even if you don't want to. And then the day is gone and you're like, okay, that was a day. And then there's another day, but I'm sure it's not linear.
I've come up with this theory, essentially, or this way I kind of approach things now that I've learned through all this. And I call it perpetual forward motion. Like if literally in one day, all you can do is put one foot in front of the other, like that's all you got done was one foot in front of the other that day. That's forward. That's all that matters. Like, just keep the momentum alive. I got this theory from Dr. John Coleman, this mental performance coach that I worked with, an amazing guy. And he said, if that pendulum's swinging, there's energy. And when that pendulum dies, when it stops, that's where it's hard. It's hard to rebuild momentum. It's that apathy is hard to recover from. So he's like, sure, you're mad, you're angry. Like, you can imagine it where that pendulum's swinging to. It's like, there's so much power in there.
I want to go back. So you have like extreme physical pain, and there's just, your whole identity is gone. Mental pain, like going to the bathroom now is just, it's hard. Like, everything is hard.
It's still hard, and it's still probably the thing that I hate the most about being a double amputee is going to the bathroom and having a back injury, because not only just getting to the toilet sucks in the middle of the night, but then also like using the toilet sucks. And I know you've had people with spinal cord injuries on here before, and it's that part that nobody talks about. It's like, my prosthetics, they're awesome. Like, they work well. They suck sometimes, but I wouldn't trade them back in. My life's great with two prosthetic legs. I would do anything to trade my back injury and my brain injury. Like, those two affect my life so much more, and they're invisible, right? You don't see them.
How soon after your first leg was amputated was your second leg amputated?
A year and a half, 18 months.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, I decided, like, I'm going to commit to the rehab. I'm going to commit to everything. I'm going to do what's asked of me, and I'm going to try. But I kind of like had this feeling that it wasn't going to work. And as the time went on, I had, with my right leg, I had this reference of what a good leg feels like. And just because I have, my original meat leg there, doesn't mean it's good. And it was holding me back. And after a lot of surgeries and the pain stayed the same, I would just be like, so if you want to mess this one up and cut it off, like, just feel free. Like, I got to the point where I'm like, screw this foot. And it was a wild decision, but it was the right one. I saw this like potential that if I amputated my second leg, I could go do the sports I want to do again. I might be able to skydive, surf, snowboard. And I got out of surgery, like, smiling, high-fiving, like, life was good. And then after a couple weeks, this like feeling set in of like, ooh, was that a good idea? And I sat with that for a few months while I waited for it to heal to get my second prosthetic. And walking into the prosthetics office in Vancouver, I'm like, I'm gonna find out here in 30 minutes if this decision I've been pondering for like 2 years was the right one. And it was kind of a crazy moment. I stood up and I was like, yeah, it hurt like hell, but I was like, it's natural.
When Tyler first started wearing prosthetics, he was still in unbearable pain. Over time, the pain has settled down, though, and Tyler has returned to some of his favorite activities. More than 100 years ago, Nikon's very first product was actually binoculars. That's right, not cameras, binoculars. Today, Nikon is still crushing it in the optics game. From the trails to the treetops, Nikon binoculars are built to go the distance. Designed in Japan with precision engineering and decades of optical expertise, they deliver brightness, sharpness, and clarity, whether you're birding, hiking, checking the surf, or just taking in the views. The Monarch series is rugged enough for your wildest adventures, while the Pro Staff lineup offers incredible value without compromising performance. And with one of the lowest return rates in the industry, you know these binoculars are built to last. So next time you're out chasing wild ideas, bring a pair of Nikon binoculars and see the world like never before. What are you waiting for? Head to your local REI store or rei.com and grab a pair today. Hey everyone, I want to tell you about a podcast I think you're going to love. It's called Finding Mastery. Each week, you'll dive into the minds of the world's greatest athletes, leaders, thinkers, and doers with past Wild Ideas guest, Dr. Michael Gervais, a high-performance psychologist who's worked with Super Bowl-winning NFL teams, Fortune 50 CEOs, Olympic medalists, and extreme athletes exploring the edge of human potential. Tune in as Dr. Gervais sits down with high performers like David Goggins, Brené Brown, Jimmy Chin, Lindsey Vonn, and Alex Honnold to translate their mental skills into tools you can use to unlock your potential. If you're looking for a podcast to inspire you and provide actionable takeaways to become your very best self, I recommend you check out Finding Mastery, available wherever you listen to podcasts. In 2015, Tyler Turner was in a skydiving accident and lost both of his legs. Since then, he's figured out how to return to some of his favorite sports. He started small, adjusting to his new prosthetics and testing what his body was capable of. But before he could start snowboarding or skydiving again, he had to overcome an even bigger obstacle. So what was the turning point for you? Like from when you decided, I'm going to do sports again, just differently?
The turning point was committing to getting off painkillers, really, because I wasn't able to pursue what I wanted to do with how deep I got down that hole. And my passion for skydiving and snowboarding and surfing and the potential to do those sports again is what really motivated me to figure that out. And it was undoubtedly the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I've lost 2 legs and had a back injury and a brain injury. And getting off of opiates is like not even close. Like prosthetics was easy compared to that. But once I kind of got through that, that was where I was sitting there. It would have been like January 2nd, 2020. And I was sitting there off painkillers and now I have 2 prosthetic legs. And I was like, all right, let's send it.
How did you get off of them?
I tried multiple times, multiple ways. How I got off was I had something that I wanted so bad. I wanted more than that, and that was sports. In the end, I went cold turkey, which I would not recommend. It was as brutal as I could ever. I can't even describe it. Like, it's impossible to describe how bad it was. But yeah, I tried other methods before, and I wasn't having success. And I wanted to skydive so bad, and I wanted to surf and everything. But honestly, skydiving and base jumping, because there's not that space for messing around like that. So those sports forced me to be fully sober and clear my mind.
Wow. Well, good for you.
Thank you.
And thanks for talking about that. So what was the first activity you did, like, that really made you feel yourself again?
So yeah, I think skydiving was the first. I mean, up there, like with activities I used to do. I mean, obviously I played other sports, wheelchair rugby and stuff. I was playing some sports to keep my mind and like my brain just at ease a little bit. But skydiving was the first of like those sports that I love, that I went back to, because as much as it seems crazy and extreme, really, like, you get this nice little ride up to altitude, an airplane. You can roll out of that airplane if you want, and then you're floating on a bed of air. And then, provided you land it softly and safely, there's a lot of skill goes into it, but like, it's not the most taxing thing on your body. So I was actually able to like get wheelchaired up to an airplane, and then got into that airplane. It was quite the scene. And my biggest worry at that time, with like, still my back and pelvis and everything was in pretty rough shape, was like, how am I going to land this? And just found a really nice, it was kind of sandy and soft and came in, slid on my butt, and then they brought my wheelchair out to me, and it was a pretty cool moment. But I was happy. Like skydiving was accessible to me, which is kind of crazy to think it was the most accessible sport, but it was there for the taking. And I got all those feelings back. I got all those juices flowing again, and it's pretty amazing.
Amazing. And then you just kept doing it.
Yeah. Once I like after that first one and I proved that I was still capable, then there was no more, like, reservations were gone at that point. I did one skydive the first day, and then after that I was, back to doing 4 or 5 maybe, like a day, and just progressing and trying to figure out how to fly this new body. Like I was flying with prosthetics, without prosthetics, different, like I was saying earlier, like there's all these different, branches of skydiving, and it's more nuanced than you'd think. And so I was trying different types of free flying, and can I still do all these things? And, it just kind of, the progression kept going. And I just wanted to get back to the point where I recertified all my coaching certifications, and they checked me out and said, yeah, you're still good to go. And I got back teaching people in the sky, and just got back to everything I love. And now it's just normal.
It didn't take long for Tyler to feel comfortable skydiving again, and he started jumping on a regular basis. In 2017, after extensive training and planning, he became the first bilateral amputee to fly in a wingsuit.
With skydiving and wingsuiting, like when I leave the plane, it feels identical to how it felt before my accident. And the suit, you're kind of laying on it. It feels like you're laying on this bed of air, like on a magic carpet almost. And it was definitely a little weird. My right leg's got quite a bit of weakness from paralysis in it, and so my right leg was kind of getting thrown around a bit, but I settled in, and once I settled in, it just it was incredible.
As Tyler took up each sport, he regained confidence in his body, and he wondered how far he could push himself. More than anything, he wanted to snowboard again. Tyler loved carving through powder in the mountains, but as a double-leg amputee, he was unsure if he could ever regain the balance and control that the sport required. So then how did you start snowboarding again?
Snowboarding's been my entire identity, pretty much my whole life. So it was kind of a non-negotiable. I was going to figure out how to snowboard, but I also knew I had to be careful with it because, like my first time putting prosthetics on, like my first time skydiving, all this stuff, that moment where you find out, like, it's a make or break moment. It's kind of incredible how it's like literally a single, like, that moment you'll know an answer. And maybe if you can't, like, I couldn't walk on my prosthetics perfectly, I knew the answer. At least I knew there was potential there. And I was scared for that moment with snowboarding, and I knew it was going to have to come at some point. I was going to have to find out. So I was really patient. It was the sport I was the most patient with because I guess it's like the most precious to me. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to give it the best chance of success. And I knew it was going to take like time for my prosthetics to heal, feel a little better, deal with the pain, like get calluses built up and everything. I also was careful to set, really achievable goals off the bat with it, because other sports, I was like, screw it, I'm going to fly wingsuits or whatever. But with snowboarding, I was like, I'm going to ride my snowboard 10 feet this season. Like, that's it. I was with like one of my best buddies, Cody, and had people walking me around with my hands over their shoulders, and I couldn't barely walk. And I put my feet in the bindings. I don't even think we strapped them up, but I just, with my forearm crutches, I pushed, got a little momentum, and like slid 10 feet. And I was like, hell yeah, proud of my accomplishments. Year 1, 10 feet, done. Check. Everything else is a bonus. But that summer, I was obsessing about snowboarding, and again, plan, and like running down how I'm going to do it. And luckily, unlike skydiving and wingsuiting, there's a lot of people I could talk to and get beta from and ask about their experiences, and really lucky to have double amputees before me that have done it and have gone through the experience. And so with the world of social media, you can be pretty shameless and just reach out and, hey, here's my situation. Here's what I'm trying to do. And luckily, most people were pretty good to get back to me and help out. And I worked so hard that summer, and like almost opening day, 2021, I guess it would have been, me and my good buddies growing up, we snuck out opening day and we had a plan. I remember the night before on his carpet in his living room, we're like, I'm standing up and like, all right, like this could work. And we're like putting pieces of rubber underneath my heel to try and wedge it, so it felt a little more normal, and come up with a plan like how we're going to even ride the chairlift. How are we even going to get me to the chairlift? Because I can barely walk at this point with the pain. But we got up there, and we had a plan to kind of go down, falling leaf, where you like hold each other's hands when you're learning to snowboard, like, and have the instructor giving you support. I was like, I'm going to do that with Spencer, my buddy. And so he like kind of gets me up, and I'm like, I don't want to find out. Like I didn't want to ride, because I was about to find out maybe that I can't snowboard again. And I was too nervous. For 2.5 years, I've been saying like, I'm going to snowboard. It's going to be possible. This is what I'm going to be able to do, making all these claims. And then like, I'm about to find out here in 1 second. If I turn this board, I'm going to find out if those are even possible. And I was like super scary, but he kind of just gave me shit. He's like, dude, get over it, point the damn board downhill.
Tyler did as he was told and took off down the slope. It was exhilarating, even if he only made it about 30 feet before the pain took over. But in that moment, the joy of being able to ride was far greater than any discomfort. Over the subsequent months, he continued to set small, achievable goals to manage the pain, increase his endurance, and build back his skills. The first time you snowboarded was like 2020, but then you made the Olympic team like pretty quickly after.
Yeah, I like the skills were there, but it was just trying to figure out the pain and like pain management and how to be able to ride more than 2 or 3 runs in a day, or like stop 7 times on every run. So I started going to camps and stuff, and Canada Snowboard was really good to me. Like they saw the struggle, but also like that there was potential there. So they were accommodating and like, all right, well, hey, you can do 3 runs. Great. Let's just like really train hard on those 3 runs and like make sure that we're progressing. And also the coaches, I'm lucky, they've worked with amputees in snowboarding for enough years that they had some good ideas and ways that we could adapt and modify and take different approaches. And it was all just this like fluid thing, and it was happening so fast too because the games were coming. And yeah, I just kind of went for it.
So like, how soon did you know that you were going to enter the Paralympics after the first time you just went 10 feet?
To be honest, I wasn't super interested. I think like a lot of, kind of just like common people in North America, the world, like the Paralympics are getting more and more televised, prime time, and they're getting the light that I think they deserve. But I didn't tune in much. It was hard to, because it was kind of buried on the internet somewhere. Maybe YouTube would have it, but yeah, there wasn't the access to it. But to me, the Paralympics felt like our participation ribbon. That was my vision of it. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, Paralympics. I just want to go snowboard and ride powder again and whatever. And then I watched the Sochi and South Korea, Pyeongchang, and I was like, oh, damn. Yep. These like, I didn't really know. I didn't know what I was in for. And like, I watched the racing. I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
you're like, this is legit.
I can't beat these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming down to 100th of a second, and it's gnarly and it's fast, and these guys are good, and I'm not that good. And so that was kind of where it took some time to come around to like, okay, yeah, this is competing for your country on a national level with like national support and competing for gold medals. And it finally was like, okay, let's give this a try. And yeah, when that kind of shift happened, and it was actually, I was riding with a friend of mine, and he's like, dude, have you talked to the Paralympic team? And I was like, well, I sent an email just like inquiring some information, and it's like, I don't know, whatever, not really my thing. And then he called one of the coaches and was like, yo, so you should go snowboarding with this guy. And then they invited me out to a camp, and it just like took off from there. It's like, there's a year and a half till the games. So if you want to do this, let's go.
You didn't just like do it, you won gold.
Yeah.
How did it feel to win gold?
Yeah, gold was incredible. It was fun because there's just no pressure. Like I was still just kind of a no one out of nowhere. And I was honestly, I would just be laughing to myself. And every time I made finals, because I won, I think 5 World Cups that season before. So all the World Cup. Oh, I lost 1 World Cup that season. So there's 6. I won 5 of them. Then I won World Champs like 3 weeks before, because World Championships was postponed a year because of COVID. So we went World Cups, World Championships, and Paralympics all in 1 year, which is crazy. However, for me, it was great because like
it's training.
I'm brand new. Yeah. Like it's great opportunities. And so I was kind of building this momentum, and every time I was in the final start gate, I'd just be laughing, like, what am I doing here? Which was awesome, because then I kind of went snowboarding and didn't care, because it kind of blew my mind that I was even there. I didn't know if I'd ever be there. And yeah, that momentum I was able to take all the way to winning gold. So, you know, how was it winning gold? You ask. It's like, it was just, I couldn't ever imagine that level of accomplishment. I just wasn't even a consideration. So yeah, I don't know if it's still sunk in years later. Like I did it and I don't know how. And it's just the wildest.
You can follow Tyler on Instagram at TyTurner14. That's TyTurner14. You can also find him at tyturner.ca. Wild Ideas Worth Living is part of the REI Podcast Network. It's hosted by me, Shelby Stanger, produced by Annie Fassler, Sylvia Thomas, and Sam Piers-Nitzberg of Puddle Creative. Our senior producer is Jenny Barber. Our executive producers are Paolo Motola and Joe Crosby. As always, we love it when you follow the show, take time to rate it, and write a review wherever you listen. And remember, some of the best adventures happen when you follow your wildest ideas.